Welcome back, everyone, to HalloweenHaunts365.com, the podcast. We're back for our third episode. We have a special guest. We have Terry sitting next to us this time because we have a new mic and new stuff, and it'll be fun to do.
Hi, everyone.
Hopefully you can hear her. I have no idea. We'll find out once this is over. All right, so today we have an actor from Field of Screams. We will introduce her now. At Field of Screams, she is Elektra Q, and in real life, her name's Chandra. So say hi to everybody.
Hi.
So how are you doing tonight?
Good. Long day, busy, hot, humid, gross.
I really, really need the 50 degrees to come now. It's killing me. So to start off, we like to drill you with, 200 questions. Nah, it'll be closer to like 14, 15. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a photographer. I like to explore abandoned buildings. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. Love all things Halloween. Sci-fi-ish stuff too. I mean, into so much.
I gotcha. Well, I already gave this away, but what's your haunt character's name, and tell us a little bit of a backstory about her.
So, her name is Elektra Q. She originally started out in electroshock in the asylum. So it was kind of like a play on, I like to be a little punny as well with my skit lines and my character and all that stuff. It took a couple nights to kind of figure her out when I first started, but yeah, it was just a play on the scene that I had worked on for that season. And
I gotcha. Yeah, you've always stood out to me since we started going to Field of Screams. You and a couple other actors I've talked to over the years. I've just, the makeup and the costume is easily recognizable, and I think that's really cool.
yeah, the late Jeremy had helped me kind of design her and her aesthetic. He, through a couple nights, we like changed up the makeup until we finally got like the aesthetic that it is now. Like one night he would like add the nose, and the next night he would, at first he started out with just airbrushing the mouth, and then he's like, let me try some silicone tonight. And we did silicone until we got to the look that it is now. And then he bought the dress, and then the girl who does my makeup now just dressed the dress specifically for me. So like it's all designed all for just me.
That's fantastic.
How long does the makeup take?
It can take up to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Depending on how fast and how distracted she gets. Because right now, the girl who does my makeup, she is now the head of our makeup and special effects crew since Jeremy. So it takes a little bit longer now that she's in charge, because people coming up and be like, oh, do you have this? Do you have this?
That's cool. How did how did your love for Halloween start?
I'm pretty young. As most kids are excited for Christmas, but I was always super excited for Halloween. Just loved dressing up. I loved going and seeing all the neighbors like setups and stuff. There was this one neighbor up the street. They had like this like really crazy setup, walk up to the driveway onto the porch, and they always had like this little gimmick, this witch's brew, and they put in like noodles, like pasta, and these fake eyeballs to like, you had to pretend that you had to go through to find the candy, and they'd be like, haha, that's not the real thing. Here's the real candy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, mine started very young. My uncle would decorate my grandmother's house with like wood cutouts. And then when I got done with trick-or-treating, he always had a wolf man sitting in a wheelchair at the end of the ramp before the door. Well, in that town, people were very used to that house. Well, one year I jumped into that Wolfman costume and I scared the shit out of everyone who walked up. It was hilarious. And since then, haunting's been everything, Halloween's been everything, and it just started really young. When did you start haunt acting?
2017. That's when I first joined Field. My friend that I met through exploring, he had been going since he was like 15. And when I first met him, he's like, you need to come out, you need to come out, you need to come out. I finally came out after him badgering me and Jeremy badgering me, like, come out and act, and
Very
fell
cool.
in love with it.
So this is your 5th year, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Nice. Have you helped with any of the designing at Field of Screams?
I have not, but with them doing the whole basement this year, supposedly they're ripping the whole entire basement out. I would like to have a hand in it, especially since the first room has been my room for the last couple of years. So. And they ripped my room out.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So have you done all your haunt acting at Field of Screams? So you've been there for 5 years?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the only other place I've acted. I've been to a bunch of other haunts, but there's some places where I wouldn't mind. But the whole reason why I love acting at Field is just the intensity and just being able to be completely crazy and get in customers' faces and just scare the crap out of them. A lot of places are not nearly as intense.
Right.
Like Eastern State, you used to have to wear the glow
the
stick necklaces in order to just be touched to be interact with the, so
Have you seen what they've done to that place for this season?
I haven't yet. I'm interested to see what they're doing. It's not going to be the same as Terror Behind the Walls.
No, Terror Behind the Walls sadly is gone.
Yep.
I was reading through it last night because Terry had mentioned about going, because we haven't been there in a couple of years, but apparently only 2 of the walkthroughs are scary. 2 have been changed into like an experience. And now it's mainly become like a Halloween night out, which is fine, but it's no longer a haunt. There's 3 bars you can go to, and each one costs $15 to get in.
I mean, I know that they had previously, before they had the bar at the end.
Yeah, they had the speakeasy at Capone Cell. That was always there, and it was always an upcharge. But 3 different places to go have a drink for 15. That's what, $45 to see all of them.
It sounds like they're kind of getting the idea off of City Museum out in St. Louis, because they have like crazy little stuff, and they have like these little mini bars that you have to go find throughout the museum, and it's hosted by Transworld, so I'm sure that's where Eastern State got the idea from. Maybe.
Right, yeah, maybe. I mean, they're we'll see. I mean, I wish them the best, because they changed a lot. And I mean, even parking's $20 now. I don't even remember, because there's no option but to go to the zoo to park. There's no parking down there.
And if you can find on-street parking,
not there.
I think one year I got lucky and parked right on the side of the building.
Wow.
The times that I've gone, it's always been with Field, so we go in the middle of the week, so it's not nearly as packed. I've been able to find a couple times a spot. I'm like, yes, I got lucky.
Today's my lucky day.
Yeah, I think it's the right idea for that area, with it being a big college town. I think they're really going to cash in on just the night out experience and not worry about all the haunt props and all that and everything. So we'll see. I mean, we still might end up there, but I'm doubting it after reading that last night. Now we're going to take a break from the haunts, and Terry's going to ask you some new questions.
What is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movie is Nightmare on Elm Street.
I kind of like him too.
I'm a big Freddy fan. I love Freddy. Like years ago, I went into this abandoned coal breaker up by Wilkes-Barre, and I put on the costume and I did like all these like self-portraits of me kicking up the dust and trying to make it look like the boiler room and all that stuff.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I love Freddy.
Yeah, I've been collecting for 20 years. Anything Nightmare on Elm Street, I'll pick up and throw over there. The only media I'm missing is the NES game, which is now doubled in price when I should have just bought it from the first place. And I'm looking for a good but inexpensive copy of the VHS collection that makes this picture when they're all together. I've been finding them on eBay. It's just, I have a hard time spending that kind of money on something I'm not going to play.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that.
I mean, it's going to sit over there on that bookcase till I die. So, I mean, I'll wait till I find a garage sale and they don't know what they have.
Facts.
So this might already answer the next question. Who's your top horror villain?
Yep, Freddy.
Freddy. Second favorite?
Oh. I did kind of like Chucky a little bit. I always kind of like the sassy, talk back kind of villains.
Yeah, the first movie was crazy because, it's not often that a young kid's the target. And then he constantly targeted the young kid. So it added, Chucky was funny. Terry's is Jason Voorhees.
No, not at all.
She had some traumatic instances when she was younger, and now she can't be anywhere near them. And it's the funniest thing ever.
I scream like a little girl.
I guess, have you done Reapers, the hayride?
And I screamed like a little girl, curled up in a ball and cried my eyes out.
Oh, that was classic.
Mhm.
Classic.
And we're going back in what, a week?
Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had us to the media night before Corona came, and they took us through everything during the day so we could see, behind the scenes, how everything works. Then they fed us and sent us out. So she knew Jason was there. We saw the behind. She still freaked out. She knew the part he was coming. Still freaked
He
out.
jumped on the trailer on the hayride, and my friend Brittany was with us, and she kicked him, and he turned around just as the light shined on him, and his face was in front of my face, and I screamed. You might have thought I was being murdered.
That's funny.
Yeah. Do you have, what's your favorite horror franchise?
Pretty much the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
right. That's fantastic. Mine too, if you can't tell. And up against this wall, I have all 8 posters. I'll have to be able to take that camera off next time to show you. But yeah, it's just been a stupid collection. And I don't know if you can see, that's actually a real steel glove.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my pride and joy. That I'm actually going to shout him out right now because he does amazing work. Nightmares Unlimited on Instagram makes everything horror. He just recently did a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Saw. He's done Phantasm Balls. He does every movie Freddy Glove from the original down to Freddy vs. Jason. He kills it. He does such a great job, and he's going through a lot of health problems right now, but he's still pumping out work. And you can usually see him at the Monster Manias when Freddy's there. He'll have a giant, I think it's like 6 feet tall, steel metal glove for his sign. Yeah, wow. I want to get that off him one day, but I don't think he'll ever give it to me. But yeah, he does a great job. That's where I got that from. So I just want him to have the love because I met him about 5 years ago at Monster Mania.
Yeah, and Sherry, huh?
Yeah, and I've been in contact with him ever since because ideally I'd like to get all 8 gloves. Well, 9 gloves if you add the needle glove and just have them across the top in the different movies. I think that would look cool.
Yeah.
So, second favorite horror franchise since we already know the first one.
Just drawing a blank. I honestly, I liked them all. I mean, I wasn't too big of a fan of the Halloween stuff. I guess I just never understood why he just wanted to just chase her constantly.
I
Just
got you.
her.
Yeah, like a lot of people love Michael Myers. A lot of people are in the same boat you are. So I get
I do like the Rob Zombie stuff that he does.
me too. I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. Huge Rob Zombie fan. I'm interested to see what he does with the monsters.
Yeah.
That's like, is he going to go horror? Is he going to go comedy? It's going to be interesting.
Or is it going to be like a mix?
Right, right. Because like all his crazy horrors still have comedy. So I think he's the perfect person the perfect person to handle this.
True.
So out of all the haunted attractions you've been to, what's your favorite?
So I really loved two are my favorite outside of field. Haunted Overload. The builds are just amazing. It's not like super intense when it comes to like the actors, but just the aesthetic and the look is just beautiful. And my second one is Brighton Asylum. They are intense. Their sets are beautiful, and every time I go, I always love running into Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie does a great job.
He's great.
I'm gonna try and get him on here too. He cracks me up every time. He was a part of the written interviews I had you guys do, 2 years ago or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, and I love Brighton. And my top 3 every year usually end up Reapers, Field, Brighton Asylum. Because I mean, Brighton. Have you been there last year?
I didn't go last year. Last year was kind of a weird year with COVID. So
Yeah, he was the last one we got to last year because, you know, that that man puts in a lot of work, and I always felt safe in his stuff, so I went. And now I don't. About 5 years ago, about 6 years ago when we first started, all it was the abandoned warehouse. You drive up, you see a line of people, you're like, what is this? Where am I? But it was amazing. And then they only had 2 attractions. You had the tunnel, I think it was called, and then Brighton Asylum. Now he has 3 full walkthroughs. He has the escape rooms. He has the axe throwing,
A museum,
a horror museum, and a store. And it's all just right in that parking lot where it was before.
I know. The first time I ever went, I'm like, where is this? What? I'm so confused. I got lost, and I'm like,
it's scary to park there too.
yeah, it's like, am I parking in the right spot? Where am I going?
Yeah, it says make left for Brighton Asylum. And we're like, oh, between the 2 abandoned warehouses. Yeah, this is good. But then you see the lights, and now he had a great outing for 2020. I was happy for him. But his scenes are always such high detail. It really feels like you're walking through a nightmare, a horror movie. And I love going when he has Night of the Creeps. Have you been to any of the off season?
No. So I pretty much only just have done the off-season ones because they always ran the exact same nights as Field. And so like I never really got a chance to go experience full season, but their off season was great. You know, it was always, you know, nice because Frankie always, you know, remembers you. I don't know how he remembers all these people.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Night of the Creeps is my favorite, and I do everything I can. It's usually right before summer, like April, May area,
Yeah.
and every room is transformed into a different horror movie. So the
I did
first
do one. It was like a Friday the 13th one, and they did have the horror themed one. They had Freddy, they had Jason, they had Michael, they had Pennywise, they had Baby and Otis. Can't even remember all of them, but there were a couple ones I'm like, who are you? Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Night of the Creeps had all of it. The first room, you see the girl jump roping out front, yelling 1, 2, and then the first room we walked into is the boiler room, and there's Freddy playing around on the pipes. So it was awesome. I love going for that, and they do such a great job that it feels like in season anyway. So it's my little break to get some fog in my lungs and enjoy some haunts. What?
If you could go anywhere, what is your dream haunt?
Universal.
So you have not been to HHN yet?
No, I want to go. I hear that like it is just great because I heard that the makeup people are the guys who are on Face Off and all that stuff. So like it's 100% professional grade, like crazy. And
That it is,
Yep.
definitely.
I would say definitely go, but I'm gonna say from what your experience is in the haunt world,
Don't expect.
you're gonna love it and you're gonna hate it.
Yep.
it's not going to be intense. I know that.
Well,
I mean, I love going for visuals.
Right.
Like there's never been a haunt that has scared me. I don't think I can actually honestly get scared, but like I love, even when they don't scare me, I love them still interacting. I'll smile and I'm like, great job, trying to amp them up and stuff. But like just been walking through and seeing the beautiful sets and the beautiful makeup and even hearing the skits and all that stuff.
That's what you're gonna like, because the sets can't be beat. They can't. The license they have and the money they have and the talent they have in all these rooms, it's like you're walking through that movie, certain scenes of that movie.
Exactly.
The voice acting is done through PA, speakers over top of the actor, so they're just mouthing it. And so they can have say Ash versus the Evil Dead or whatever that show was.
Mm-hmm.
You would hear Ash's voice coming out of a scare actor.
Oh,
so he would just.
That's interesting.
He would just do this, and you would hear Ash's voice. But they have. I mean, I understand they have a big output they need to handle, so they can't keep people staying in one spot. But they have employees just parked at the end of the hallway in a bright blue polo and jeans, telling you to keep going. Like, put them in a cloak, put them in something. Like, you just ruin everything by having them stand there. So that's one thing that bothers me. But I jumped at HHN. I jumped through my damn shoes at HHN. The nun, no, not the nun. The Black Bride from Insidious.
Yep.
What's that movie company? Wow, Jared. Blumhouse. Blumhouse had a walkthrough with like 4 of their films, and Insidious 2 was one of them. Walking, it's like a U-turn walk, kind of like your first room where you do that. You turn around and go in. Well, you're walking, and they have a dude in an electric chair, and it looks fantastic. So I'm staring at that, and then I look around, not knowing where the exit is, and I'm looking at this window, and up pops a real live Black Bride from Insidious 2. You got me. No one gets me. And then she disappeared. But yeah, That movie creeped me the hell out with that scene with all the dead bodies and the black bride and everything. Then there she was, like face to face. It was a good job. I mean, I like going because these are all movies we grew up on. But for me, it's not going to be like an every year thing, just because it's tough out there because you have to go for 2 nights. You cannot do them all in 10. I don't even think you can with the VIP.
Really? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they're
We did too.
we did 2 nights. Yeah, it took us 2 nights. But yeah, HHN. I always wanted to go to the Los Angeles one to see if it was any different, but I'm pretty sure it'll look just as good as Orlando. We have a guy that helps the site with some reviews. He just got back, so we'll have him on soon. And then Grin, he's leaving Monday. So I'll have him on to say what he liked about that and everything. So you'll be able to see what happened here. Do you see yourself one day starting your own haunted attraction?
Yes. My one friend, he keeps talking that he wants to do this and do this. And so it's like, yeah, we'll all pitch in one day.
Yeah.
It would be fun. I love like acting and stuff, but like I'm a very creative person and stuff. So like I like even before renovations would happen in the asylum, I would always be thinking like, oh, maybe this year we could change this stuff. Like back when Jeremy was still there, we used to, at the end of the night, we used to all go back to the house, and he was the manager of asylum, and the other manager, Steve, we would all hang out in the basement and just talk about the night and rooms and stuff, and like what we want. Like, we want to change this room into this room. That would be great. And we can do this and we can do that. Just talking to each other about like changes that we would all like to make. And yeah, I definitely would love to have my own haunt.
Me too. I mean, there's review groups that do this for a certain reason. Mine is to learn. Like, I want to know the ins and out of the business, just in case one day I hit the lottery and I can start my own haunt, because that's really what it's going to take in today's market. I mean, because you have haunts that have been around for 30 years, 29 years, 28 years. To throw your hat in the ring with these guys, it's going to cost. But it's a retirement dream of mine. So let's see.
What do you do during the day when you're not at Field of Screams?
I work in a warehouse, so
Right.
hot, sweaty, gross in the summer.
Right. Well, today was first day of fall, and it felt like it was
so gross.
Yeah.
So gross.
That's fine. Hey, at least you get to go to one spot and work. I have to travel the country and sit on planes. And tomorrow I get to drive to Manhattan. And on 2 Mondays ago, it took me 7 hours to get there.
I hate New York. Like, I just don't like New York. I had to do years ago. I used to like model on the side, and this one girl that I knew, that she has her own latex designs and stuff. She went to school in New York City, and she had like this show, and I went and I helped model the items, and it took me like 2 hours to move 5 miles out. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, this is like 12 o'clock at night. Why? I hate it.
Yeah, I'm 102 miles away from Manhattan, and it took me 7 hours to go 102. And that's not even really true. It took me 5 hours to go 20 miles.
It's crazy.
It's just
Every time I go up to Massachusetts, I avoid going through the city. I will drive the extra half hour and go up onto the Tappan Zee.
Yep, I always go to Tappan Zee. When I have to go to Connecticut, Vermont, all that, the Tappan Zee is my best friend.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now I got a little different question here. Do you believe in ghosts?
I do not.
Okay. That's going to be an interesting conversation starter.
It is.
I threw
I've
that.
been into like a million abandoned buildings. I've never had any sort of weird experience. I mean, I don't very much believe in God, but I have like some spirituality a little bit. Not quite sure what I believe everything is, but
I think you're on my train. Like, you don't know what it is, but there's something else other than us. That's where I'm at. That's just what I do. All right. So, what are your top 5 attractions in the area?
oof, in the area.
Yeah. Or further, whatever you want.
I mean, in truth, the only thing that I've done that is actually local is Bloodshed and Terror Behind the Walls.
Okay.
And Bates.
I got you. Have you
I
done
I
Night of
haven't even
Terror?
done Valley of Fear, which is literally 20 minutes from my house.
Speaking of, I just saw on Instagram they had to delay their opening a week because of Ida. So that's some
We
sad
got
news coming
flooded.
out of Fear.
Flooded.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
Yeah. We went for, I think, our second time in 2019, and I really liked where it was going. They just started construction on a new, I think it was like a castle type walkthrough.
So
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like a haunted house with like caskets and everything. But the hayride's awesome too. It's worth the stop. But I know how hard it is for actors to actually get to other attractions.
that is true.
So many other attractions literally is like the same nights as we run. Like the good thing about, like, at least in the past with Terror Behind the Walls, is they were pretty much doing it like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. And all the other ones, if they did an extra day, it was always a Thursday. And it's like, okay, field's open. Sorry, you can't come.
Yeah, I know Bates opens all through the week into October too. Have
Yeah.
you been to
They-
Bates?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went there like years ago. That was fun.
Yeah, the Bates Motel attraction is always on the top of my list for standalone attractions because it's just constant insanity the entire walkthrough. You've got girls levitating. I'm like, oh, okay, that's new. Just in a chair and she slides up the wall.
The first time I ever went, it was like, 2005. And the hayride had aerialists that would fly over.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't go back for years after that. And I was like, yes, I'm so looking forward to this. And then they're not there anymore. And I'm like, what? This was so cool. I loved the concept of them just like swooping over you. And you know,
Yeah, they make some changes year to year. The one thing I never with Bates, I always liked the hayride. I liked the Bates Hotel, but that walkthrough was always so just mediocre. I never, but in the last, I think 3 years ago, they changed it to Revenge of the Scarecrows. That was pretty good. Now I'm
I
kind of
haven't-
looking forward to going back to Bates this year.
I think the last time I was at Bates was 2016, 2017,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe. I think. I don't quite remember, but yeah. I don't remember if they still do the entrance into the walk. It was like they had the big cow skull. It would lift up. I don't remember if it lifted up, and then you have to walk through that air cushion.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I remember
That
that.
was so funny. The first time I ever did that, I went with my friend, and he was walking in front of me, and like he's like a metal dude, and it's just dead stops. I had to walk him through it, and then when we finally get out, he's just Jesus, getting scared by everybody. And I'm just laughing.
Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna ask you a very difficult question. Now, Jim and Gene, if you'd stop watching for a minute. Reapers or Field?
Field.
Okay.
Reapers is beautiful. it has a lot of beautiful things, but the thing that it lacks, at least for me, is a little bit of the originality.
Yep.
Like, Freddy's awesome, Jason's awesome, and Michael's awesome, but do we really need that in a hayride? Like, the only really original one in the hayride that is beautiful, but it's not scary, is the Alice in Wonderland.
That I didn't think I would like that when we did the
beautiful.
I'm like, what is this and why is this in a haunt? But when I saw it with the lights and everything going on, I was like, this is awesome.
Beautiful, but it's not scary.
Right.
I mean, I also don't think that our hayride is very scary. I think our hayride's a bit more theatrical. I mean, we have some scary spots that I think are, but for the most part, I feel like they're more
both really big shows.
Yes, but it's original. Like,
I know. But then, like, I think about all the blackout mazes in the area, you know, the cheap way into an attraction. So you don't have to design anything, you just make it dark. Theirs, pitch black, is.
I didn't actually get to see it. Last year was the first time I went to Reapers. And I didn't actually get to see all that stuff. I mean, I definitely plan to go this year to see this stuff.
Yeah.
But I did like how, you know, you get on the hayride and then it drops you off and you go through the stuff and then you go through all this and you get picked up and you go through it again. Like, I like that concept. That's really cool.
That was a cool plan of theirs to use that full side of the hill like that. But the pitch black, the dark mazes don't do anything for me. This one freaked me the hell out.
Well, they take your glasses if you wear glasses.
Oh, great. I wear glasses.
You can't see, you can't smell, you can't like.
Oh, you can smell,
but
it smells terrible because they have
like death.
Yeah,
like it just.
They do a good job of scaring the shit out of you without being able to see anything.
And then they take you. They took Brittany.
They'll take you.
They split you up. Like if you're in a group, they split you up.
And
yeah, so I like that.
Yeah, you're getting smacked in the face by wet rags. You're touching all different types of texture surfaces while you're trying to feel the wall. Like it'll go from slimy to metal to bumpy, so you don't even know if you're in the same room. They'll have chainsaws where you can actually, I think it's a chain link fence, and they're right on the other side of that. So you can see the sudden spark of the motor starting, but after that, all you can do is hear it. And they're on both sides of you really loud. So you can't hear, you can't see, you can smell, you know, some of that froggy's odors. And then you just want to, it fully takes on your senses, kind of like the new room in the asylum. It just really, it shook you. And I was shocked when I walked out of there because I always see blackout mazes as almost like a cop out, especially when a haunt has more than one.
Did they do away with it?
No,
Are they still there?
They didn't do it for COVID. It's back, and they have a brand new attraction that I haven't seen yet. So I'm really, really looking forward to Friday. Next Friday.
Yes, I definitely want to go see that stuff. It kind of sounds like when we do our blackout night, when we like do all the freaky, gross stuff and steal you off the wagon and hide you and make you eat live bugs and stuff.
One of these years we got to go back up. By the time you guys have that, we're so tired. It's just.
I know. It's in November. That you're doing that.
Yes, it's our last like actual night. It's the night 13th. Before the zombie run. It's always so freaking cold.
November 13th.
Mm-hmm. I think that's when it is, November 13th.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to give you the floor so you can plug your social media, Insta, whatever you want to talk about. Give some shout outs, say whatever you want to say. The floor is yours. I know you did some modeling on Instagram. If you want to show that off, that's up to you. So go ahead.
My Instagram is porcelain doll. Yo is a 0. go check out the 13th Ward, even though we lost Jeremy a couple weeks ago, but they still have amazing stuff. And I think Andrew is still keeping up with it. Shout out to Nick, my favorite little actor I love acting with. No, really. Oh, and my makeup artist, Kylie. Her Instagram is softmilkfx underscore FX. So
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, the makeup artist, I'm hoping to get a couple of them on here soon because what they do is fantastic. And the amount of time they have to do it. Like, I'm creative, but I can't do shit. I can't draw. I just started being able to take pictures. So, like, this is my creative thing. I wanted to review haunts, and I made the website, even though I didn't know how to make a website, but I figured it out. And then here we are. Now a podcast, YouTube, all that good stuff. So if you have no one else you want to plug, I'm going to wrap this up.
yep.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you tonight at HalloweenHaunts365.com, the podcast, where every day is haunt season. Make sure you like, subscribe, find us anywhere on the internet. We are all over the place. So have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.